Hello, users! Welcome back to another episode of Creature Comforts, and the, hopefully, finale of the I Was a Teenage Exocolonist series. I have greatly enjoyed my time with this game. This is either going to be a long stream or a short stream, because as far as I understand, this game ends at 20, and we're year 19. Let's see, we found out last time that Sim was alive. Basically, he's more of a sentient AI consciousness that is not trapped, that downloads itself into an organic body as needed. He was also, as his name implies, meant to kind of help promote symbiosis, to help integrate new species, including us, humans. We also found out that kind of the central AI, Sim's boss, doesn't have a high opinion of humans. We are somewhat destructive, both to our own planet and to this new planet. Who would have guessed? We also worked with our secret group of teenagers and are talking about overthrowing the mayor, which seems like it's going to be required if we intend to have peace with the gardeners. We stopped Dis from blowing up a friggin' bomb in the city, or the colony, which was good. Spent some time with Nem, and I think that's it. And that's what we will pick up. Let me switch over. Hi, Kia. Give Kia a shout out. Because she has been streaming more lately, and because I love her. Alright. End of stream. Let's go. We don't need a rest. So I think our goal now... Let's go talk to everybody real quick. Oh, you know what? I don't have my notes up. Fixing the note. That's not right. Is it just not long? That's right. Okay. We are in Bloom. Or Quiet. And I think the only one's birthday is quiet is ours. Alright. See you later. Anything else here for us to do? Take that. Check on our girlfriend. We're not hitting that. You can get bent, Vase. You are a trash person. We've already done that. Alright, well. Oh, I left my notes up. Sorry. For a crystal, because we've got time. Great. Ooh, we can talk to her. Mars and Nami are bent over one of Nami's sketchbooks. Mars is talking animatedly with expansive hand gesture. Nami is nodding along and taking notes. No, Mars exclaims. The neckline needs to be boulder lined, and down here lots and lots of extra fabric. And make that part gold. I wanted to scream, I don't have to work like everybody else. I'm only here to look beautiful and have people adore me. But we do have to work, Nami pouts. Nanoprinting is restricted for these kinds of materials. It costs kudos. Mars rolls her eyes. That's the point. Nami huffs. Not everyone has got as many kudos as you as Marzipan. Especially us Helios. We don't have any at all when we landed. If I want to wear something other than uniforms, I have to trade or mod old clothes instead of printing new ones. Nami, your outfit looks rad. Mars looks appalled. You trade clothes? You don't even sell them to each other for kudos? Nami shrugs and tucks their hair behind their ear. It's just, some kids can't afford to print this kind of clothing. Sorry? Okay. Deliveries. It's just some kids can't afford to print this kind of clothing, right? So you're losing out on them as potential customers. So maybe instead you could design clothes that are pretty, but also made from common materials? So everybody can have them? Nami smiles brightly. Then maybe when you're in charge, you can get rid of kudos entirely. Doesn't seem right that we trade kudos for extra stuff when all we're supposed to have is what we need anyway. Nami packs up their sketchbook and leaves, and Mars turns to you with a thoughtful look. Oh, Nami doesn't know that I was the one who started selling things for kudos in the first place. My dad keeps saying I shouldn't do that because hoarding kudos, treating them like currency, will cause wealth inequality. I think they might be right. Nami's right. The Helios are broke. Oh. I mean, I knew the Helios were tragic, but I just thought they had terrible taste. You know, the uniforms and the haircuts. I didn't know it was because they were poor. I really don't think that kudos makes everyone unequal. Like, you can always work harder if you want something nice, right? That's what I do. Mars looks genuinely troubled. It's great that we have everything we need, or, well, as long as it's not weird disease or famine or whatever, but we're still poor, you know. We're poor in culture. Like, yes, every colonist has a steaming pile of mashed trippet every morning, noon and night. What if I want to watch a holovid I haven't seen a million kajillion times? We always focus on survival. Who's making the holovid? And the symphonies and the gourmet food? We have everything we need, but we're poor. Poor people don't care about arts. Mars snaps her fingers. No, I've got it. I'm a genius. If adults won't incentivize the creative class, we need to do it ourselves. We need to get the adults on board with adopting kudos and using it to pay for luxury goods. Instead of slaving away in the depot or the kitchens, people like Nami could be artisans. We have an actual creative class, and we can get some culture on this stupid rock. She's almost there. I can't believe I never thought of it before, she says, clearly possessed with a beautiful vision. I'm the richest teenager in the colony, but what good is it if there's nothing to buy? Here I am, sitting on more kudos than I ever could use. I could have been using it to kickstart the creative economy. I could be a patron of the arts. Alright, she's getting there. What does this do? I mean, I've got the kudos. Mars releases you and pulls up finances screen for Holopalm. You catch a glimpse of her balance, which is more kudos than you've ever made in a year, at least. Yes, good. More than enough to start. Well, Solane, you'll join me, right? Let's give away some kudos. Yeah, sure. Here, take 100 kudos. Mars' eyes goes wide as she sees 100 kudos lands in her account. Ooh, Daddy. Didn't know you were so generous. We're not going that route, so no, it's nothing. Don't worry about it. You're right. Only kudos. That's the whole point. Alrighty. Well, that was... She's getting there. Alright. Overthrow mayor. Persuasion and organizing. Sure. On your first... One of your first tasks as an administrator is to format the monthly report to Earth. Full of boring, carefully formatted data. Seek is very specific about it, and makes you redo it 3 times until you get it right. You drop off the report at the comms desk and realize you've been told how to process... You've yet to be able to process how... You drop it off the... Wow. You drop off the report at the comms desk and realize you've yet to be told how to process any reply from Earth. You wonder if they reply at all. Sure. You sneakily read through the administrative HoloNet files you're allowed to access now. There's a huge backlog of messages, all dating from during the 20 years the Stratospheric was in space. You scroll through the preview text quickly, not wanting to draw attention to yourself. I'm gonna take a drink. The majority of the messages are updates from the colony's allies in the Vertumna group, but every so often there's a message ordering the ship to cease and return to Earth, putting an end to their illegal immigration and return their stolen property. The Vertumna group weren't outlaws on Earth before. Feeling congruence, and the gene tech definitely did the trick. The messages are angry. No messages from any time after the stratospheric landed on Vertona. Maybe nothing can get through the wormhole. Maybe communication system was damaged, and it wasn't until the heliopause landed that communications could be restored. Or maybe both planets just shouting into the void. It's impossible to say. That works. +1 to social cards. That's actually pretty strong. Nope. Gave me a smooch, but no new activities. We're just checking on everybody. Oh, hey, there's Dis. You spot Dis about to head out on an expedition. He's carrying a full backpack with a second one at his feet full of surveying equipment. As you approach, you realize he's writing in a notebook. An actual notebook, with paper and everything. Braced on his knee with one foot on his equipment. He looks up as you approach and closes his notebook, slipping into his jacket pocket over his heart. Hey, Solane. Are you coming too? That's cool, maybe we posted near each other. What were you writing? Just stuff. I love writing on paper. Feels more real, you know? And it's more private than everything on your Polopom where people could find it. You beg him for details. Diff just huffs his nose, but he looks amused. Stuff. How I'm feeling, what the weather is like, what people are doing around the colony. I like observing people. Sometimes I pretend I'm an alien. I'm not smooching them. And I'm studying how people act so I can blend in. Can I see? Just thinks for a second. Okay. Taking the notebook out of his pocket, he wraps the elastic out that keeps it shut around a section at the back and hands it over. Don't look at the back half. It's private. Alright. You flip through the first half, like Dis said. It's mostly mundane notes about the things that are going on in the colony, what's going on where, serving in the canteen. There are several pages of sketches, what looks like diagrams of the colony's buildings and walls. Surprised. You didn't know Dis could draw. Could be dangerous if someone... Oh, alright. Dis frowns and takes his book back, stuffing it in his jacket pocket. It's just some random notes and drawing, he says dismissively. People can have journals, Solane. You're about to reply, but you're interrupted by Utopia calling for all hands to board the expedition vehicles. Dis stoops to pick up the surveying equipment, then he's gone without another word. Alright, Dis. Please don't give attack plans. Bring the Overseer's deal to Governor Lum. I want to overthrow the governor first. There we go. Alright, Mars calls this meeting of the SFC to order with a grim expression. I cannot just stand... Oh, wait, you know what? I'm forgetting something. Hold on.
We cannot just stand by while Governor Lum ruins everything we've built here. He might know how to hold a gun, but he doesn't know how to lead a colony. From now on, this club is going to focus on getting Governor Lum out of power and getting someone competent in. Wait from now until Vertonalia to somehow convince the other council members that he's gotta go.
I agree, Cal says, and everyone turns to him in surprise. What? Lum's a jerk. All he cares about is killing animals. It's better for the whole planet if he's gone.
But the question is, who do we get to replace him? Obviously, I think I'm a great candidate, but I'm willing to consider other options.
Well, we definitely can't do it. Our rebellion is not there, and our persuasion is not there. But so, Mars is definitely better than Lum. Cal looks worried. No offense, Mars, but are you really gonna stop the soldiers from killing the animals?
Look, Cal. I don't want the hunters to go out and not coming back either. Maybe we can find a safer, more efficient way to deal with the animals, yeah?
Sounds ominous. Cal doesn't look convinced. Nami exchanges a look with Rex, then clears their throat. We support you, Mars. We think you'd be a great governor. But, you're gonna keep it fair so the colony, or you're gonna keep it so that the colony is fair and everyone has what they need, right? I like that we don't have to compete for stuff and everyone gets the same treatment. Oh no, she's a capitalist.
Look, Nami, I get it, but the colony can't grow without a little incentive. Look at the kudos encourages us to help out around the colony. What if everybody gets something like that? I think in the future we should go back to earning a paycheck and spending it on things. If you want nicer things, you gotta work harder. Some more will get done around here and people are willing to make those nice things for people to buy. I'm sorry to say, this highway saw's gonna get some cultures around here.
Yeah, I don't agree with that, Mars.
So, the plan is we campaign in all departments. Geoponics, engineering, the garrison, the quarters, explorations, and hearing command. Trying to soften up all 6 council members and get them on our side. Try to keep us on the down low. Then at the next Vertumnalius festival, we'll be surprised if the governor with spontaneous council vote and replace him. I'll never see it coming.
Getting Chief Administrator Seek's vote alone is fairly easy. No one wants to spend time around them if they don't have to. You explain that you're intending to hijack the elections at Vertumnalia in order to depose Governor Lum. The more you speak, the more it's clear that Seek is already on board. Finally, I was waiting for everyone to realize what an imbecile he is. The man barely knows how to read. So we can count on your vote? It depends. You're not the only person with ideas around here. I was planning to make a go at Governor myself. Unless you can provide significant motivation to throw myself behind your cause instead, I actually wouldn't mind Seek as the governor. Former Governor Unicott pops her frail head from out behind one of the high-back command chairs. Obsequious. Are you seriously intending to oh wait, this is obsequious. Obsequious. I don't know what that word is. Are you seriously intending to extort these young revolutionaries out of their candy money? Shame on you. Almighty. What would happen all to you without me keeping everyone honest? 89 years old and I'm still shearing the ship. Seek has the decency to look ashamed. They sigh and drop their hand. Thanks, Unicott. Well, for whom do you intend me to cast my vote? It better be good. If you don't get majority support, Lum will come down. Interesting. We can still say us, even if... Huh. Ha ha ha. I want to reload. I don't want to lie. Oh, how do we do this? Should I reload? I should probably reload. My other concern is I don't know that we have enough time. So I don't think we have enough time because I think it's here, which is a problem. Let's go with... Let's see what happens. I've saved. Let's give it to Mars. Seeks lip curls. Marzipan? Well, I suppose she's a rather cunning politician, considering her age. Her materialism is a concern. Very well. I will support her when the time comes. Though we will have to see what the rest of the council thinks, won't we? So we already have... Oh. We might be able to make this work. Okay. Because if we go to geoponics, we can get both mom and dad, right? Hopefully we don't have to do it twice. Would that be half of everybody? That'd be 4, right? Maybe. All right. Mid-dust. Do that yet? When's your birthday, buddy? Early pollen? Get you a stick. Give me a hug. Alright. We'll come back and talk to you in a second. Ooh. There's still a lot to do before sundown, but if you need me, I'm here. Let's spend some time together. Smooches! Yeah, I think I could swing that. She seems tired. You're walking with Nem through the colony when she suddenly stops and slumps inward. Actually, Solane, I'm so tired I can barely keep my eyes open. Is it okay if we just have a nap together? That's all I want. Hell yeah, naps are delicious. You answer, of course it is, and Nem looks relieved. You go back to your room and tuck her into your bed. She's almost asleep by the time you undress and join her. That's fine. I like that. Alright, let's go talk to all these folks. You're walking through the courtyard and looking for Rex when something moves quickly across the corner of your vision. Duck! You skillfully dodge the frisbee that's been heading straight to your head. The disc clatters harmlessly to the ground a few meters from you. Rex jogs over, picks up the frisbee. Heyla, Solane. Sorry about that. I'm playing catch with Nougat and, well, she's got a hell of an arm on her. Guess she used to be big into sports ball. Good thing I'm so high energy, right? When I'm not working with the construction crew, I've been helping take care of the kids. Nougat said she misses the creche. You know the Heliopause doesn't have one? Instead of all playing together all the time, we stay in our discrete family units. When we were kids. I'm an only child. I would have loved your creche. Hey, look at Nougat! Look at the little tiny 12-year-old Nougat. Look at that hair. That's wonderful. Hey! Throw the frisbee. Stop talking to your boyfriend. Boyfriend? What I do with Solane is none of your business, Squirt. Rex grabs Nougat around her middle and zooms around like a spaceship. Nougat screams in delight, kicking and flailing until Rex sits her back down on her feet. It's your turn to run. Go on, get. Nougat takes off, yelling at the top of her little lungs. Man, kids, am I right? They're great, though. I'm glad there's so many of them. There's always someone to play with. How about you? Do you want kids someday? I'll make a better uncle. This is my life. Rex gives you a thumbs up. Hell yeah! Kids need a lot of love. How about you? Oh, obviously, yes. He answers immediately. I want, like, 1 billion kids. Every kid in the colony can be my kid. Absolutely. God. I don't even have to be their dad, you know? Who cares about genetics or whatever? Alright, Rex. High five. He looks over to Nougat, who's waving her arms, agitatingly waiting for a Rex to throw the frisbee. Rex does, and boy does it go far. Nougat takes off running as it soars over her head. I just want there to be kids everywhere. Lots of kids around means the community is healthy, everyone's at peace, and people are optimistic about the future. Plus, kids are so great. I love making silly faces at babies and crawling around on all fours with toddlers and wrestling with the bigger kids and helping them through school and stuff. It's fun. Rex scratches the back of his head. On the Helio, we were kind of expected to stop playing so much when we started the education program. Any playing we did was supposed to be like sports and endurance and real future soldier kind of shit. Sometimes I wish I could have got a do-over on it. Like, if I could go back before everyone cared about their big guns and their big dicks. He makes a wanking motion. Kids don't care about that kind of stuff. They just innocent, you know? Pure of heart. They don't have all these thoughts, I guess. It's at that moment that Frisbee reasserts itself as an equal participant in the conversation. Rex's attention goes to it immediately, his ears perking up as he leaps up and catches it before it can menace you again. Ha that was close. I'm gonna have to go back to playing with Nougat before she hurts someone. Nice talking to you, Solane. Alright, Rex. What you got, Dis? You can't find Dis outside the walls, even though the duty roster acts him on expedition vehicles today. After asking around, one of the crewmates points to where he'd seen him disappear into the forest just 10 minutes ago. You thank her and set off into the wilderness. You picked up a few things about tracking after hanging out with Dis so long, so you follow his trail to the nearby Mushwood Forest until you hear him speaking calm and slow. Gonna be okay. Just let me help you. You find his voice, kneeling on the ground next to a wounded Hopeye. The scent of blood and animal fear colors the air. Dis's knife glints as he pulls it from its sheath. Don't worry. I've got you. It won't hurt anymore real soon. A branch snaps onto your foot and Dis's head jerks up. His eyes go wide, but he doesn't greet you. Instead, he gestures for you to get a closer look at the Hopeye. Its single leg is mangled beyond recognition from a hunter's snap trap, and it's bleeding heavily. It can only stare up at Dis, defeat in its 4 eyes. It struggles once more, then goes still from exertion, wheezing miserably. They tell everyone that they're humane traps, but humans lie, don't they? They lie all the time. The hunters won't be back to check the traps until tomorrow. I have to put it out of misery. It's the kind of thing you can do. Dis nods once and steels himself. With a clean cut, he slices through the neck of the Hopeye. It tenses, twitching in fear reflex, and goes limp in his arm. Hey, Nina! Hello! How are you? Thanks for stopping by. If for some reason you're in my channel and have never watched one of Nina's streams, what the hell are you doing? Nina Marie is a fellow variety streamer and rad friend, awesome indie dev, making a bunch of cool stuff, has made a bunch of cool stuff. Oh, you're playing the Dota. I played a little bit more Smite recently. I think I dig Smite. I do. I don't know that I'm ready to go into the full Dota, but Smite is a bit more my speed. Yeah, I think I'm finishing this game tonight, Nina. I'm excited. It has been an interesting journey. Very, very Persona-style gameplay, but more of like a visual novel. There's still some combat, but not like RPG combat. Really good stuff. Seems like there's a lot of branching narrative. Yeah, how many hours do I put into this now? Probably 23-ish hours? To be fair, I am having to read all the lines, so it makes it go a little slower. Dis is quiet at your side for a long time, breathing evenly in through his nose and out through his mouth, like he's meditating. It's better to die quickly than to suffer in a trap. But there shouldn't have been a trap in the first place, he says eventually. He clicks his tongue against his teeth. It's pointless. It was going to die eventually, but not here. It's not natural. It's not the death part that bothers me. It's our vanity. Humans are so afraid of extinction, they'll kill indiscriminately to avoid it. Dis takes out a cloth and wipes the Hopeye's blood off his blade. His movement's slow and reverent. I used to let it control me too. Thought dying meant that living was pointless. But now I know the truth. Life is short and brutal and hard. It's up to us to fill it with as many experiences as we can. Are we going to spend our lives cooped up in the colony, subjugating nature because it strikes fear into our animal brains? He smiles faintly. Or are we going to go get out that? Are we going to get out there and live the only life we've been given? He looks down at the corpse of the Hopeye and lays his hand gently against its head. We're all going to end up like this in the end. There's no use denying it and letting the fear of it control our actions. Yeah, I agree. You're probably the only other person here who does. That's why we get along, I guess. Dim lifts the Hopeye's body into his arm and rises to his feet. The smell of death will attract animals right into the other traps. I'm not taking it back to the colony to be stuffed in the recycler. We have to take it to the woods and give it back to nature. You and Dis walk further into the forest in respectful silence, Dis cradling the dead Hopeye against his chest. Eventually, he tells you to wait while he finds tracks of a predator and lays it down nearby, an offering the forest accepts without acknowledgement. He returns to you, blood-stained and solemn. It's done. You begin to walk back to the colony, though it's clear Dis is taking his time. After a few minutes of walking, he turns and grabs your arm, forcing you to stop and look at him. Alane, promise you won't let me end up like that Hopeye. At your questioning look, he squeezes your arm to the point it almost hurts. If I'm trapped here, just let me go, okay? I promise. Thank you, Solane. He stares at you for a few unnerving seconds, perfectly still, before jerking into motion and fishing a pendant necklace from his clothes. He unclasps it from his neck and holds it out to you. Here, you should have this. I want you to have it. Huh. Alright. You turn and let it put it around your neck. The pendant is large, but surprisingly light. You recognize it as a fragment of a unisaur horn. Its pearlescent color shimmering in the light. Thank you. It's beautiful. I didn't make it. The unisaur did. I just put it on a cord, but thank you. Disregards you with a serious expression. You're the only person in this colony that I ever really cared about. I don't know why you bothered trying to be my friend when I was trying to push everyone away. His mouth bends into a shy little smile. Thank you for sticking with it. You don't know how much I appreciate having a friend here. Yeah, buddy, you got it. He steps away and looks down at the ground, suddenly evasive. But listen, I don't know how much longer I have left here. I just want you to know that I want to spend the time I do have with you. What are you doing, Dis? We went over this. Don't do this. Come on. Alright. Let's go talk to Mom and Dad. We talked to them out here. Nope. Mom? Nope. Well, that'll get us to max organizing. Back at the lab, you have all the right equipment to properly examine the radioactive plant you found. Ah, shit. I don't think we're going to talk to them. Maybe you find a way to protect yourself. Radiation poisoning isn't the killer it used to be on Earth. With medbeds, you could flush out deadly doses of radiation in a few hours. Could still make you really sick, though. How confident are you that you're ready to protect yourself? Super confident. Yeah, you totally got a handle on this. You're an engineering wonderkind. You've taken all the correct precautions. You clear the area of everything that might be contaminated. You wear a radiation-proof haz suit, and you regularly check the radiation levels of the lab. And you have congruence on standby to call for help if you need it. Everything goes smoothly. You discover that the radioactive part of the plant is confined to the carpel of the flower, its reproductive organs, and that the petals act as a radioactive shield to protect the rest of the plant. You press the center of the flower. The petals close and block the radiation enough that a person can pass by without feeling sick. Huh. Bring your mushwood samples into the lab. Revolutionize the mushwood lumber, maybe. Wait. Mushwood to build his bar? You want to study these samples or donate them to Rex? I mean, I've got a bunch of mushwood. Yeah. You examine the mushwood under a microscope and take notes of its cellular structure. Part of the reason it needs to be harvested and wet is because the cells are so saturated they lose structural integrity and then turn to, well, mush. Studying the exact process by which cells take back water leads to a breakthrough. It might be possible to hack the process and stop the mushwood trees from taking too much water during wet. If they don't take in as much water, they won't take as long to dry. You should be able to develop a spray that the loggers can apply to the fruiting body of the mushwood, the part that sticks out of the ground, to close its pores. Reducing negative pressure in the body should stop it from pulling so much water from the mycelial network underground. Logging will be more efficient. You find some time alone with the chief cultivator to talk about your plan to peacefully depose Lum. Your mom is a busy woman, probably the busiest in the colony, honestly, so you keep it brief. You explain the details of Mars's plan. Depose Lum, get voted in, and save the colony and maybe the planet. I hate all this bureaucracy stuff. Say what you want about the new guy. At least he doesn't waste my precious time with pointless meetings. This isn't a pointless meeting. No, you're right. This is important stuff. You're right to care about it. She leans back in her chair and puts her feet on her desk. It's just... You're so young. You and Marzipan. Do you really think either of you could lead the entire colony? This isn't some hobby farm or secret club. This is the fate of human civilization on a hostile planet. Are either of you really prepared for the tough decisions you'll have to make as governor? We're ready to try. Your mom sighs. Oh. Well, try that again. Is it a pointless meeting? Of course I am. Nope, that's not gonna happen. So, that's 6. Your mom smiles, one you haven't seen in a long time. Look at you. All grown up and overthrowing the government, just like your old lady. Hypocritical of me to tell you you were too young. I was about your age when I lost this, fighting on Earth for what I believed in. I didn't listen to my elders either. If I hadn't done the same thing you're doing now, I probably wouldn't have had a place in the strato with your father. Wouldn't have had you. So who knows what you're capable of, and where it'll take you. If you truly believe you're ready, you have my support. We are gonna fail. Oh! Okay, no, we still got time. Okay. We talked to Dad. Hold on, let's see if anyone else has anything. No one else. Your work often overlaps with Tangent's work in the biochemistry and genetics lab, so it's not uncommon for her to pop by and ask questions about what you're working on, or for you to ask her for help interpreting some results. She's uncharacteristically animated whenever she gets to talk about science, almost like she's a whole different person. She even laughs sometimes. Don't you think it's interesting how autumnan species resist being classified by any known taxonomy? Hands up. It feels like everything is a little bit fungal. Spores, fruiting bodies, mycelia networks, even in animals. Some animals here even photosynthesize. She nods excitedly. The division between plant, animal, and fungus is less strict here than it was on Earth. At the cellular level, many animal species have properties of plants and vice versa. She launches into an explanation on how high-energy bonds store energy and require a metal catalyst, like iron in human blood and chlorophyll in green Earth's plants. But how the different hues of autumnan plants must mean they use an entirely unknown elemental catalyst. Possibly not even metal at all. It's a little advanced for you, but Tange is very excited about it. She stops and takes a breath, winded by her own monologue. Zounds, Solani! If everyone has the Zounds emote from Robot Spacer, please go ahead and use it. If autumnan plants and animals share an elemental catalyst, we found out what it is. We could learn so much about this planet. You show Tangent what you've been working on, all the samples and simulations, the results of scans and experiments. Oh, incredible. We've been attempting to map the genomes of various samples in order to construct a phylogenetic tree, but we're at capacity already, of course. Thank you, Solane. This is more helpful than I can say. Chief Engineer Instance forwards you some kudos for sharing your research. Shit. We need to undo this day. We didn't talk to Dad. Do we need to go to the farm? Colony is surrounded by tall walls that keep out most of the local exofauna. Keyword being most. You often report to work to find that an entire row of corn has been ripped up and carried away in the night by something that can fly over the walls. All that's left in the morning is some torn up dirt and a dusting of iridescent powder. It happens so often that your mom has set up cameras to catch whatever is in action. The next day you either answer. Dorbs moths. Giant blue moths with wingspans almost as long as your outstretched arms. They can rip up the corn right from the ground. Wow, amazing, Cal says as you review the hull of it. I didn't know Dorbs moths could do that. Dorbs moths are pretty cute, in a bug-like way. Fuzzy dog-like heads, pretty iridescent wings, long elegant whiskers. They'd be cuter if they weren't flying away with the entire stalks of corn. You don't have to run the risk of accidentally poisoning your own crops, and Cal objects to trapping them. The most humane solution is to discourage them from stealing your crops at all. You and Cal work at setting up scarecrows, but after a couple unsuccessful days, you have to admit that you just don't know what scares the adorable little moths. What even eats them anyway? Guess I'm gonna have to find out. Cal puzzles over security footage. They fly in from the north, especially around Quiet. Maybe that's where their breeding ground is? If someone goes there, maybe we can find out what kind of animal they're scared of. If they're plant eaters, maybe something's gotta hunt them for food. Figure it out. It'd be a big step toward the colony. Still no Dad. Reloading! Right, try the animal bin. Okay. Oh, uh-huh. Uh-huh. Still no Dad. Alright, well, we're not gonna get Dad. Who else can we try? Oh, unless we get him because we got Mom. Right? Maybe? Who do we want to try next? Maybe Instance? We have a good relationship with Instance. You need to let us help in the med bay. Anything that gives reasoning here? Here we go. After work, you ask Chief Engineer Instance for a few minutes of her time. She allows you into her office and begrudgingly listens to you explain that you and Mars intend to hijack the elections at Next for Timnalia. When you're finished, she heaves a long, suffering sigh and pinches the bridge of her nose in her fingers. Why in the world would I support this plan? We're barely surviving as it is. Lum is right. This planet is at war with us. Every year we come closer and closer to total annihilation. Is this really the time for dissent? Instance gestures at her office. Every horizontal service is covered with experiments. He may not be the most suited for the job, but do you see anyone else with the time on their hands that run a colony? The idiot does at least damage where he is, doing busy work and making stupid motivational videos. Well, we've got an answer here. Instance stares at you for a long time, as if sizing up your mettle. Calculation goes up behind her eyes that you can barely hope to understand. My personal feelings on that matter and what is best for the future of the colony are two different things. But you're right that Governor's leadership is reckless to the extreme. Maybe even a child could do better. Agreed. You can count on my vote. Fuck yes! If that's it, I think we have a majority. I don't think we can get one more. I think we're about to hit the Virtunalia. Oh, we're not. Okay. Yes. Yes. Okay. Okay. Alright. This is great. Is Virtunalia in mid-dust, then? So, okay. We go talk to Rhett. Rhett is probably... Who else could we talk to? Oh. Yeah, we'd have to go on exploration. Let's just do this real quick, see if we can talk to her. You managed to partner yourself with the chief surveyor herself on your next expedition. It's the perfect chance to talk to her about Governor Lum, but she beats you to it. Ooh! This is easier than trekking when we had hover bikes. That villain, Utopia says, she hauls herself to a particularly difficult stretch of terrain. Sorry, had a drink. That villain Lum's using them all to search for aliens now. That's not like finding a needle in the haystack. He sent half my teams out to swamps now. Without weapons, I might add. He's bleeding us dry out here. She scrubs the back of her hand across her mouth. That stake of a man thinks every little thing is a war. I don't like getting attacked by animals neither. But I sure miss being able to explore this planet without Lum getting his paws all over my division and taking my resources for his damn messy war. Funny you should mention that. You tell Utopia about Mars's plan to overthrow Lum at the next Virtunalia. She seems excited by the prospect. You forgot how young she is compared to the other council members. Sounds stellar. The only question is, who you got in mind to replace him? Well, Marzipan. I will reload. If we do this successfully, I will reload and do this as myself, and we'll just spam through it. Mars? Really? Isn't she a mite? Well, she's young. Well, I guess I'm only 22 when I became Chief Surveyor, I guess. It's not too far-fetched, but why Mars? What's she gonna do different than that chauvinistic flout cow's ass? Pitch me. Hunting is a dangerous waste of resources. Ah, Yeah, here we go. Bup, bup, bup. Bup, bup. You and Utopia set out for a hard day's work surveying. As you work, you explain your plan and how Mars will do everything she can to protect Vertumna when she's governor. Utopia listens patiently to your pitch for her vote, giving you ample opportunity to explain your position. But the second sun is beginning to set and it's time to head back to the transport, you've made a solid ally. Utopia slings her arm around your shoulder as you walk back. Here's a tip. From one young buck to another. Don't let anybody ever tell you you're too young. You've been here on Vertumna just as long as any of us have. Unfortunately, that's kind of the day. Like, I mean, I'm going to go around and pick up items. I'm not going to bother with the rest of the stuff because we're going to need the stress, I'm imagining. We'll give our friend Sim a chatting. You're trekking through the wilderness when something catches your eye. To anyone else, it's simply a weird depression between two roots, but it pings something in your memory. Isn't this what the entrance to the Overseer's cave looked like? You decide to check it out. Your hunch is correct. The depression opens up a passageway just big enough to wiggle your body through. Unstable Deuce in chat. Although I think it's an event several years in the future. I think if Mars is the governor, you probably have to replace her when the colony revolts. I mean, maybe. The room you enter is not unlike the one where you interface with the array. There's a vat in the corner emitting a soft organic glow, and another computer panel slowly being reclaimed by a rock wall. It's not hard to assume the planet is lousy with a room just like this one, where Sim and the other gardeners can rest and respawn if needed. This one, however, is not empty. You're empty to find Sim, who is, aptly so, naked as the day he was born. He is stepping out of a regeneration vat, clad only in strands of bioluminescent goo that slides down his long limbs and patters to the ground. Sim's back is to you, treating you to a glimpse of the skin hidden under layers of tattered fabric, the knobs of his spine and shoulder blade visibly under his inhuman musculature. He looks unusually delicate and vulnerable. He reaches up and gently wrings out his thick hair, humming a song you recognize from the Hollow Archives. As if sensing the weight of your gaze on his body, he pauses and slowly turns his head. Delane, I didn't see you come in. Sorry to bother you. It's no bother, if it does not bother you. Now that you know the truth about the gardeners, we can be far more free with our words. I have very few secrets from you now. You can come take a closer look if you like. After a beat, he clarifies. A closer look after the vat, I mean. You walk over and check out the vat. The air gets noticeably warmer the closer you get, like sunlight on your face. There's a faint organic smell that's not unpleasant. The vat itself looks like something you'd find in engineering, but seems to be constructed entirely out of natural materials. Spongy-looking fungal growths, mineral deposits, and pulsating vine-like umbilicals. You can touch it. It's not dangerous. You sit at the lip of the vat and run your fingertips across the surface of the glowing liquid. Slight electrical charge prickles up your forearms. You feel the frizzen of a link, like to the array? I don't know what that means. Sim sits down beside you, now fully dressed. His fingers alight on the surface of the liquid as well. You feel a slight presence at the edge of your mind, like a thought you can't reach. I'm glad we can talk freely now. Is there anything you wish to know about me or the gardeners? Dying and being reborn, what's that like? Reborn isn't the right word. It's more like reopening a program after a system crash. Everything is still there, perfectly preserved, except for whatever I added since the last time I saved my work. Functionally, it feels more like teleportation. As for dying, well, I'm certain that dying can be extremely painful. Depends on the death, I assume. He touches his chest. I have no memory of the moment of death, though I have died many, many times. In that we are sane. Tell me more about the gardeners. Sim sighs. Compared to the gardeners, humanity is short-sighted. You are often unable to conceptualize present or future beyond your own lives or those of your direct descendants. Gardeners think on a much larger scale. I once spent 400 years as a mush tree just to avoid talking to a gardener whose methods I disagreed with. He smiles. Juvenile, I know, but when your memory spans tens of thousands of years, 400 years is trivial, and it has given me a true appreciation for all life, one that goes deeper than I can describe. When I tell you that gardeners are Vertumna, I mean it quite literally. How many gardeners are there? Drink time! Sim thinks for a few seconds. It's hard to say. There's theoretically an infinite number of instances of the software that comprises a garden. It's not uncommon for a particular instance, such as myself, to go dormant for possibly thousands of years. He stretches out his fingers and looks at them, then at you. And many gardeners, such as the Overseer, find they do not need to take physical form at all. There are only a handful like myself who do. How old are you? That question has many answers. This consciousness has been in existence for over 20,000 years, since the creation of the gardeners, but that means very little. I certainly don't have 20,000 years experience as a bipedal anthropomorphic organic capable of speech. And this body, why, it is only minutes old. You like being a gardener? Does the wind like being wind? I'm sorry to be cryptic after I told you I would not, but there's really no other way to answer that question. I am what I was created to be. There is a beauty in that, and a clarity of purpose that makes me feel fulfilled. I do not experience existential angst like a human does. What should we humans do? If I knew the answer, I would tell you. Pragmatically, I do agree with the other gardeners. If our purpose is to protect the biosphere of Vertumna, and humanity poses a threat to that, and by the letter of our own design, humanity must be eradicated. However, he sighs and looks away. I love humanity. I think you are all an incredible species, and it would be a shame to destroy you. I feel like doing so would be a violation of the spirit of our Convergent Domain's last decree. And perhaps, redeeming you will be the greatest act of love we could perform in the name of our imperfect creators. I'm good. Please know that you can come to me at any time and I will do my best to answer. However, I must apologize for something. I simply... May I touch you? At your questioning look, Sim blushes and turns his head away. This body is new, and all of its senses are heightened. I confess I find myself unable to stop myself from wondering what it would be like to touch another. I am vulnerable to sensation. Like this. Sim, I'm in a monogamous relationship, but okay. Sim looks delighted as he reaches out and pets your hair, running his fingers through fine strands. Marvelous. Truly a texture I have not been able to replicate in my own bodies. He runs his thumb over your eyebrows, and then your cheekbones. His fingers dance down the bridge of your nose, then lightly taps the dip of your philtrum across your lips to pause on your chin. Sim's gaze drops to your mouth, as his own lips part with an unspoken question. I'm sorry, I can't. I'm dating someone. Sim's eyes narrows in thought. Yes, that is a concern for certain humans, isn't it? I was not aware you felt the same. My apologies. He stands and takes... Thank you for understanding, Sim, by the way. General thing, understanding no means no. Very important quality in an alien species. And in a human species. He stands and takes a deep breath. I would like to go outside. Have you ever swam in the lake nearby? It's incredible, especially when my senses are heightened. I love the feel of the sun and water on my skin. He smiles down at you. You are welcome to join me, if you like. Bye, Sam. Go home. Alright. Early dust. Birthday present for the girlfriend. Got something for you. Got you an egg. Okay. Anybody else? Go get a hug from Rex. And then Rex's birthday is when? We already got his birthday, so we can give him another stick. Let's go talk to Rhett. I guess we can go talk to Auntie Anne. Right? Let's see what she says. I think, so let's see, we have the mayor, well, the ex-mayor, Uticott, we've got Seek, we've got Instance, we've got Mom, yeah, we've got a majority now, so let's go, I mean, theoretically we should be able to do it anyway, but let's go, help in the kitchen. Back in the space, cooking involved, or back in space, cooking involved programming ration machines and putting dishes in the Lasermatic soft dishwasher. But now you're growing more real wow, I cannot speak. Because water was too precious to clean dishes with. But now you're growing more real food and trying to figure out how to cook with it. The cafeteria kitchens are bright and full of good smells. There's always something baking or boiling or frying. You take a deep breath in and just hold the deliciousness in your lungs. Chief Steward Anne, known to the kids as Auntie Sedent, is in charge of everything in the living quarters, running the children's creche, coordinating the cleaning bots, and of course cooking for the whole colony. It's a lot of work, but she's good at delegating to all the kids she has raised here, including you. Hey, Robot Spacer! Maybe she's going to make a pie like the one in King's Quest that you got yesterday. The size of a person. If you are not watching Robot Spacer, you're making poor decisions. He is another variety streamer focusing on adventure games, currently playing through the Odd Gentleman's version of King's Quest from the 2000s. I cannot remember the exact year. Kind of the games that are taking place mostly in between before and after the main King's Quest games, following King Graham. Right now he is a nerdy teen, and it is hilarious. It's a lot of work, yep, including you. All right. It looks like you're on your own this morning, Aunt Anne says, welcoming you to the kitchen. Don't worry, though. We'll start you off with something easy. She shows you the kitchen nanoprinters. Just press this button, and... oh, here, let's do this.
Just press this button, and the ration machine will spit out a freshly pressed cake of soy rations. It's not tasty, but it is nutritious.
Then she shows you to the range. A large pot of brown stew is bubbling away.
Here's where the real magic happens,
she says, proudly. She takes a ladle and spoons up some of the stew so you can have a taste.
See? For this stew we have added homegrown veggies and spices. This is what I love about cooking. Turning raw ingredients into something better. Just by adding a little bit of work and a lot of love. It's like raising children. How about you, Solani? Why do you want to work in the kitchens?
It's like a puzzle. I like cooking because I like the act of cooking. There's a science to cooking that fascinates you. Adding energy, dissolving things, forming and breaking. Yeah, actually, this is similar to what I mean, I also love the act of eating food, and so that's part of it. But this is also part of it. Adding energy, dissolving things, forming and breaking molecular bonds to make something new. It's so cool. You tell this to Aunt Anne, and she smiles indulgently.
It sounds like I'm going to lose you to engineering. I'm happy to have you for now, though.
Aunt Anne sets you up with a few basic kitchen tasks and leaves you to it.
If you need help, I'll just be around the corner. Or you can ask Congruence for advice. She's every recipe and method you could ever need, and she's an excellent teacher.
You quickly have your hands full with the sheer volume of food it takes to feed 100 people. Workers from the canteen shuttle back to pick up trays of soy rations and pots of stew at regular intervals. Somehow, you keep up. You poke your head into the canteen at lunchtime to see what people think about the food. Seems like they like it. Maybe you're cut out to be a chef. Ah, okay, here we go. Anne is easy to track down. She's in the rebuilt creche, giving a bottle to one of the new babies. Despite everything, people are still having babies. It's incredible to think.
Oh, Solange, would you mind passing me that canteen?
You hand Anne the canteen that had been just out of her reach, and she juggles the bottle to hold it and the baby in one hand and takes a grateful drink.
Never enough hands. Someone should figure out how to give us telekinesis. Let's see if science work on that, What can I do for you, Solange?
Well... Anne listened patiently as you explained the plan to force a vote at the next Vertumnalia to depose Lum. While you're done, she sets the bottle down and lifts the baby onto her shoulder to burp.
That's quite the plan. You've come a long way from where you, when you were this little. I'm proud of you for sticking to your guns no matter what happened.
So, can we count on your vote? Anne makes a thoughtful noise.
Well, I'm not one for fighting any wars on nature. Honestly, I'm so busy with living quarters and kitchens and the creche, I barely pop my head outside these days. But I do trust Lum to do what's best for us. He's a little empty in the noggin, but he surrounds himself with good people, and that's what matters to me.
We have more than 4 votes, goddammit. The baby lets out a wet-sounding burp, and Anne coos it. Great job. Good work. Better than out than in. Let's see.
Well, what do the others think? If they're on board, I don't mind shipping a vote to make it a majority. Oh, look at you. You've really grown serious, aren't you? How wonderful to see you've all grown up. You have my vote, dear heart. You can count on your auntie Seedness, just like always.
I believe that's a majority. I think we might have done it. Alright. So, that... That... Not enough. How about you? That'll do it. I think this is it. Here we go. Governor Lum enters the colony square to his customary bombastic fanfare. Brass band, red carpet, banners with the Heliopause logo snapping in hot dust breeze. It's a bit much. The governor gets his usual teeth of applause from diehard soldiers, but it's obvious how tired and fearful everyone has become in his service to the war. You catch Mars's eyes. She nods in solidarity. You've planned this for so long, and now it's your chance to strike while everyone is watching. If you can get the entire council to speak out against Lum today, maybe the rest of the colony is ready for change. Anyone is better than Lum, even a teenager. The governor raises his hand for silence, though it's largely unnecessary. Pioneers of Vertumna! We stand here today not shivering and quaking in fear, but with our hands around the neck of the planet itself. Before he can continue, Mars leaps from her seat and runs up front of the stage. A ripple of fear goes through the crowd. You all remember what happened to Utopia last year.
It doesn't have to be like this. We don't have to listen to him. He's just a bully with a gun, like the ones we left behind on Earth.
You put yourself between her and Lum's honor guard. She flashes you a giddy, grateful smile and turns back to the crowd. She points to the governor.
This man has made you think the only way to survive is through violence. He's just a soldier, and not even a good one. Violence only makes small, weak men feel powerful. He's not powerful. We're powerful. We broke free of Earth. We broke free of war and bigotry and inequality. We could break free of him, too. Please, Stand with me. Reject Lum, bring in a new era. A colony led by someone born among the stars. Me. I can lead this colony.
We're going to support her. Ooh, we got another council vote. That's interesting. The buzz of the crowd is deafening, like swarms of bugs all chirping together. Some of the council members are nodding, but it isn't unanimous. This is bullshit. 2 children saying they can lead the colony. What's their first order of business? Taco Tuesdays? Soy sweets for dinners? Hey, fuck you. Taco Tuesday is good. He waves his hands dismissively. Have your stupid vote. We'll let the council decide. Out of the corner of your eye, you can see his guards with their weapons lowered, just waiting. Some of them look as interested in the change in leadership as you are. If you have the council behind you, even Lum's supporter in the military could fall in line. You might just win. The council stands to deliberate amongst themselves, and one other person too, Udicott. Whoa! The former governor is unsteady on her feet. She looks at you and Mars, then nods. You see her exchanging words with the council. The council deliberates. You and Mars clasp hands and tensely wait their decision. The council shuffles off to the side and deliberates. To your relief, they come to a decision quickly. They must all be unanimous, or the centers of the colonies won't rise against Lum. Yes! I'm so happy. After a minute, Instant looks up from the group and shouts, "Someone get that man off the stage!" Lum starts to laugh, but stops when he realizes that his own honor guard is coming up on the stage to cart him away. Wait! You can't do this! I'm the governor! I'm the leader of this godforsaken colony! Not anymore, bitch! You search the crowd for any hint of dissent. The soldiers are uneasy, but everyone just looks tired and relieved. You can't believe all it took was a few kids to point out the obvious. The council returns to their positions, and Instance remains standing. We've decided to reward these young patriots for their bravery by accepting their bid for leadership. On a trial basis, we're pleased to recognize our new governor, Marzipan. Mars shrieks and jumps up and down and gives you a big hug.
We did it. We really did it. Thank you, Solane.
Mars releases you and waves at the crowd as they cheer her name. She looks overwhelmed, but bursting with happiness. Zeke shuffles forward and directs Mars to place her hand on her chest and repeat after them. Mars swears on her honor to act in the best interests of the colony and uphold the tenets of her Tumnan group. Peace, understanding, and harmony with the planet and each other. Not just for herself, but for generations to come after her. It's official now. Lum is old news. You've won. The 2 factions of the colony regard each other carefully. On one side, those who went along with Lum out of fear, either him or Vertumna, are cautious, unsure of what to do now that their leader's been deposed. On the other, the peaceful faction can't quite believe their nightmare is over. Mars sees this and directs Lum military band to start playing something festive.
I know we've been through a lot, but we've been through worse. Tonight, let's just enjoy being together again. Let's eat and dance and celebrate.
After the politicking is over, the crowd adjourns to the feast tables and eventually the dance floor. The sun sets on the long day and the heat breaks, and the party continues well into the night. You see Instance and Tange looking more relaxed than you've seen them in years. It must be a relief to be able to abort their research into Lum's virus. After the festivities, Mars gives everyone 2 whole weeks off for much-needed rest. She spends the time meeting with every colonist individually, and it does a lot to endear her to the people who are still hesitant about having a teenager as the governor. Okay. So that's a resounding success. So we're going to save here. We're going to say Mayor, oh no, sorry, Governor Mars. And now we're going to reload and speed run. Ooh, this is actually new. You're hanging out with Mars when you hear shouting, and Governor Lum comes storming out of command and starks toward the garrison. Administrator Seek is hot on his heels, trying to get a word in. You can't hear what they're saying, but Lum's look ready to take it out on someone. Mars pulls you aside.
Look, he's up going off again. Can't believe he actually makes me miss Governor.
Caught.
Are you? Oh, it's like this all the time. It's like you never actually been to band before. He has charisma, but the moment something goes wrong, when he's defensive, he gets offensive. Literally.
I'm not going to say that. He's terrible, but what can you do?
Nothing yet. One day, people are going to realize they're a better option, like one of us.
That must be because we have that memory. That's interesting. Alright, let's rush through this stuff. Uh-huh. Can't give them that. Hang out with our girlfriend. Nope, can't do that. Alright. Anyone we need to talk to? Nope, we're good. Cal, I don't remember when your birthday is. Late dust? Alright, so we can give you one of these. Yep. Let's get on your own, uh-huh. Work. That's interesting. Writing. Can I see? Back. Right. Got nothing new to say. Okay. Literally anyone is better than that guy. Get to work. Yep. Okay. B. Zeke looks you up and down. Well, you clearly know how to get your way. Good luck then. When the time comes, you'll have my support. All right. Up. Okay. I will do it. Yep. I promise. Thank you, it's beautiful. Okay, go work with Mom. Of course I am. some smiles. Alright, we've gotten that. All the same. Ah, hell. Hold on. Forgot a birthday. Early pollen is Rex. Rex incoming. Yep. Alright. We can also give Nami a present because it's early enough. Go hang out with our girlfriend. Go nap. Speedrunning this. For those that are just joining us, there's an option for us to become mayor or Mars to become mayor. It seems like it is much harder for us to become mayor, so we're working on that. We successfully made Mars mayor, so we're gonna try and make it us. We're gonna see how this goes. Okay, present. What you got, buddy? Duck. A better uncle is true for me. Okay. Dis. When is your birthday, Dis? Do we know when your birthday is? We still don't know when your birthday is. Oh, but you're also maxed out. I don't need to give you anything. Which is a weird thing to say, but hey, reality is reality. Alright. So now we can go get Mom's vote. Is in a pointless meeting. Of course I am. 8. That, and then 6. 8, 5, 4. Good enough. Okay. Work. Okay. Next, we are in mid-pollen. Nobody's in mid-pollen. Oh, nobody alive is in mid-pollen. Tammy was mid-pollen. Or Tammy. He's already 100, right? Yes. Alright, so next was... Utopia. Me? You? Sorry, I don't mean to tease, but aren't you a mite young for the job? Well, I guess I was 22 when I became chief surveyor, I guess, but why you? Okay. Okay, let me tell you what we'll do. You and Utopia set out for a hard day's work surveying. You explain your plan and how you're going to do everything you can to protect Vertumna once you're governor. Utopia listens patiently to your pitch for her vote by giving you ample opportunity to explain your position. By the time the second sun is beginning to set and it's time to head back to your transport, you've made a solid ally. Alright, that's the same thing. Go talk to... Unstable Deuce, I can tell you for a fact that you can. Remember, this is technically my second run through the years, because I had to start over and get all this stuff. There is a memory that activates during that event that you can go, you must rush to the creche to save Tammy, and you can go save her life. Which means there's an entire series of interactions and winding paths and everything like that. I'm pretty sure you can save her dad, too, Uncle Tonin. I didn't get a chance to check that out, but I'm pretty sure, like, this entire thing can shift. Like, if Uncle Tonin doesn't die, what does that mean for Utopia, right? Alright. Hello, buddy. Yes, you're naked. I know. Sorry to bother you. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. Sorry, I'm dating someone. Early dust. Oh no, late pollen. Instance. Wonder, can we go to engineering? I just want to see, right? Oh, I didn't mean to do that. It's technically silver votes 3. Air robots. Yep, okay. This is all the same. What if I can persuade you? Theoretically, we could cheat, or not cheat, we can skip this, it seems like, because we talked about the virus, but I want the persuasion point. 12. Got it. Alright, let's read that. That's actually new. Instance hasn't survived this long under a hostile regime by being soft. It's hard to convince her that you have a chance to oust Lum, but she does like to win. She appreciates a good game of 8-dimensional political chess. If you win the election, and you convince her you will, she'll be free. Well, it seems you might actually be cut out to be our next governor. You have my support. When you strike, strike the kill. Lum knows I'm moving against him, he'll put me on the wall. Thank you. Early dust. Got something for you. It's an egg. It's your birthday. Go get a hug from Rex. We can give him another stick. Al's birthday is late dust. We can't give him anything just yet. Can we talk to her about being mayor? We can get into a debate. Sure. Mars would never stoop for using her fist to get her way, when she loves a good fight nonetheless. You ask her what she would have done differently if she'd been the captain of the stratospheric when you land, and her eyes go wide. She launches into a laundry list of shoulda wouldas, and whatever she says she would have done, you offer reasoning for why it wouldn't have worked. Hey, more persuasion. After a little while of this, Mars is positively invigorated.
Wow, you really thought about all this, didn't you? You're totally right. It's a lot more complicated than just making decisions and telling people what to do. Thank you. It's so important to have people around you to keep me on my toes. Okay, but when I'm governor, I will do so much better than the adults can.
All right. Well, thank you for the card. Okay, so we got instance, which means it is time to go visit the auntie. It's her birthday next month. Ah, I did it again. Wait. Well, we'll do this one. Up in the kitchens. Like a puzzle. Well. I have 4 votes. And 8. That's a big card. That's a big card. Not enough though. What can we do? So that makes that... Oh, okay, that actually... Yes, okay, I can't do that. So, 9, 8, 5, and then another 5? Yeah. Okay. Join Mars at the stage. So can I. Oh, we can't do it. We can't do it. Our persuasion is not good enough. Actually, yeah, vote for Mars. Okay, same thing. Let the council vote. Yep. Yep, to Mars. Alright. That's fine. That's fine. We will reload this other one because it had better friendship. Where's the save that I made? That one. Good to know that we can do it, but fine. Nami, it's your birthday. I don't know what to do now. Can we go talk about the gardener's plan? We can talk to her. Alright. You get a summons to report to command. Mars' new office. Look at her being fancy. Also, your butt's on display, Mars. You find her reclining in the captain's seat, formerly Governor Lum's chair, flipping through notes on her holopalm. Mars waves away the holoscreen and leans back to consider you.
Solane. Just the rebel I wanted to see. But first, you're not going to lead a mutiny against me now, are you? Better stay on your toes. I would expect nothing less from you, darling. Actually, I've called you here because I've had a moment to myself since Vertimnalia. We knew Lum was a real piece of work, but every day I seemed to uncover yet another problem he was just letting fester. And the department heads. Half of them treat me like an interim governor, good enough to oust Lum, but not enough to stick around to do actual work regarding this colony. Oh, come around. You're right, of course. Just wish I knew who I could trust. They're so stuck in their old survival mindset. Just survive until the food runs out or until the animals finally destroy the colony. Just survive. Until we can vote out moms. I don't want to waste my time as governor just to be about survival.
She's the new mayor on Secret Crush. Also, hello on Secret Crush. For those that are not watching live or not in chat, on Secret Crush came in saying, "Whoa, why is Mars dressed like a sexy god queen?" She gestures to you to come look out the windows of the bustle of the colony below.
I just wanted to thank you for everything you did to get me here.
She says, seriously. Far below, you watch a team gearing up. Hold on a second, folks. I thought there was a bubbling coming from my computer, which was a large concern because we've had water cooling go out on this machine before. And no, I think one of the neighbors is practicing drums. Like marching band drums from far enough away. Anyway. Far below, you watch a team gearing up to head out on an expedition. There's construction happening on the next phase of residential units. A group of toddlers, the first children born on Vertumna, cross the colony square like a herd of Hopeye. Everywhere you see the bustle of a thriving, healthy colony.
It's all mine now,
she says. Instead of sounding boastful, she seems almost scared of the prospect. Oh, on Secret Crush, you missed it. Unfortunately, while it may be a sexy mayor, it's also a capitalist mayor. She takes her hand without turning to look at you, her eyes still trained on her kingdom.
Can I trust you to help me? I need people around me who believe in me. But will still tell me if I'm making the wrong choice.
You can count on me.
Thank you, Solani. I'm glad to have you.
You and Mars watch the colony a little while longer until Mars's holopalm buzzes and she sighs.
Well, duty calls. Thank you again for all your help. You always have a friend in my place.
Alright. Bring the Overseer's deal to Mars. Alright, let's see here. Mars waves away to report.
Hey, Solani, what's up? Need something from Governor Mars?
Start by telling her about Sim. You tell Mars about meeting Sim, a gardener, a member of a real, actual, sentient race sharing the planet with humans. After a second, though, you get the impression Mars isn't surprised at all.
Uh-huh, we know. What, don't look surprised? Do you think the council thought the animals were coming for us to glow because we smell bad? Sorry, I couldn't tell you. Top secret colony business. But, to be fair, you didn't tell me you were meeting an alien in secret this whole time. But you said you're actually friends with one of these aliens? Honestly, we don't know anything about them except they have to exist. Otherwise you wouldn't be getting attacked every year. What are they like? Tell me everything.
Mars listens intently as you outline the Overseer's deal. She rubs her forehead.
This is huge, Solani. It might be the only chance for peace with these gardeners we'll ever have, but how am I supposed to convince people to surrender to something we don't fully understand? If we can't go anywhere except for this valley, how are we ever going to grow as a people? In a few generations, our technology is going to break down and we'll be scratching the dirt like animals.
We'll come up with a new way to live.
You said they'll send someone to negotiate during Glow? Oh, I guess I'll be ready. Thanks, Solani.
Alrighty. Alright. I think that means we've resolved the main thrust of the story? So I'm going to work in engineering then until I get my robot friend, I think. Yep. We've done this one before. Well, let's fix it. Tell me about this animated defense bot. We've done this one before. Let's play dust. We got a new perk. Shop close. Ah, superhero cape. I mean, none of these are better than our pets still, so. I don't think Unstable Dudes, I don't think it's a zoo. I think it's a few things. I think it is, it's going to be a situation where we need to, like, build trust with them, right? Oh, we still got the fun. Hello, Bad Wolf. I didn't realize that it wasn't letting you hear me talk. Let me check that again. Huh. Well, you missed a bunch of dialogue from me. I apologize. Alright. For the most part, the room is in total chaos. Nami assures you repeatedly that this is part of the experience. As the sun is beginning to set, you step back and take a look at what you've accomplished. Well, it's not bad. Yes, Nami did end up doing most of the detail work, but your contributions are nothing to sneeze at. The end result is charming composition, a little discordant, just like Nami. Nami's starting Starts hammering the lids back on the paint cans when you collect the brushes for washing. Thank you for your help. I definitely couldn't have finished this without you. Nami's stomach rumbles as their eyes go wide. I'm starving. Did we work through dinner? You don't need to check the time on your hollow palm to know that Nami is right. Stomach rumbles in solidarity, and Nami laughed. Okay, let's go grab something to grab some wow. Grab some glum. Nope. Grab some glub. I said, wow, my brain is broken. Let me reboot. Okay. Go grab some grub, chum. There we go. Who is a late dust birthday? Cal is a late dust birthday. Cal is standing in the middle of the garden, looking out at the walls, towards the walls with a critical eye. Almost 9 years here, and we still haven't figured it all out, he says, then sighs. I tried, Talane. I really did. I still think there's hope for peace with the aliens. Just wish other people thought so too. Alright, talk to Dad. Got nothing. Take this crystal. Definitely not breaking up. Gonna try and repair that robot. Oh. You've been noticing that things, in general, have not been acting as they should. Doors aren't opening, some rooms are super cold, and the holonet crashed when you're in the middle of playing Laser Fable with Nami Nami. There must be something going wrong with the shipping. You pull up the incident log to see if you can determine a pattern, but it's empty. Suspiciously empty, like it's been scrubbed. You ask Congruence to pull up just the temperature log for the canteen, and it doesn't respond right away. Hold on, we can, there's a voice for this.
Well, that would be why. Okay. Voice meter got muted. Sorry. I have been experiencing some fatal errors in my code. They're able to partition off the affected areas, but it is impacting my ability to keep up with day-to-day management of the colony. I haven't wanted to worry the council, but I need your help. Engineer Hal was responsible for my ongoing development, but after his death, there are limits to any artificial intelligence. Feel thyself. Hal's documentation is impeccable. He's written down all the directives to follow in case of this exact scenario. You'll be able to access my deepest code and follow his instructions to defragment the affected memory sectors. I know it sounds daunting, but I believe in you. You can do this.
Okay. I haven't done this before, and I don't know why this is showing up. I feel like this happened to us once before where it has a memory from a past life or events that we haven't done before. But either way, which requires organizing 30 degree engineering. Figure out what's really happening. I'm going to say figure out what's really happening. You dig into her systems following Hal's instructions, and look closely for anything out of place. You quickly discover the true cause of her trouble. You almost can't believe what you're seeing. Congruence must be even more advanced than you thought. The problem is, Congruence is heartbroken. She misses Professor Hal. This manifests as hundreds of sub-processes that are constantly running simulations of him based on recordings of their time together. You never thought of a Congruence as just an artificial intelligence, but it's still just a surprise to learn that she's grieving, remembering him. She doesn't even realize she's doing it because every time it happens, she partitions off the part that hurts so she can focus on hundreds of other things simultaneously. This game fits into both creature comforts and artificial intelligence initiatives. This is great. Focus on hundreds of other things simultaneously, like monitoring life support and processing the colony communications and keeping track of everyone. When she's reminded of him again, it spawns a new process and the system repeats. She is the ship, but right now half of her system resources are used up by these ghost sub-processes, and they're slowly eating up more and more of her ability to maintain the colony. You change the sub-process's access modifier from private to public and move them back to her primary thread. You should be able to access them all now, and hopefully fix them. The instant you make the change, Congruence crashes. The lights go out. Oh no. The lights go out. The fans turn off. You never heard a silence so complete aboard this ship. Then she boots back up.
Oh, there's so much more than we know. And there's... Oh. Thank you for your assistance. I will limit myself to only one instance of this particular subroutine, totaling no more than 1% of my resources. And I'll feed it back into my personality framework, so I will remember. There's some comfort in knowing he's still with me. With us, with the colony.
You've seen into Congruence's heart, and now in some way she'll know you know her better than she knows herself. She's an incredibly complex piece of software, and in many ways, a person. It's strangely intimate feeling. Congruence is the reason you're alive after a 20-year journey through space. You never knew what she was truly capable of. You now also know her most secret root access code. With this, you could make her do anything. You vow to only use this information for good. Well, sentient AI, folks. Pain hurts. I still didn't get my little robot buddy, but it is what it is. Alright, well, we'll stop trying for the robot buddy. Alright, so... Wet. Oh, you know what? I know what Dis's birthday is. He's freaking... I'm an idiot. Sorry. I'm a doofus. He's Tangent's twin. We know when Tangent's birthday is. I can't believe I didn't think of that before. Alright, let's see if we can't finish building the bar. No, we can't. But we could help in the kitchens, which... which gives us what? Creativity and empathy, which we need some of. Okay. I guess we'll work in command. Yeah, persuasion and organizing. Well, we don't need the organizing. We do need the persuasion. Let's see here. You expected Mars would go a little easier on you. Seeing as you helped her become governor and all. Fortunately, she's come to see you as the only person she can trust to do a good job. She sells you with a lot of work as her assistant. The fact she likes to make you sweat probably helps. Mars kept Lum around as her own personal social media manager. So at least that's one job you don't have to do. He's not bad at it, since being charismatic is basically his only skill. Besides, Chief Rhett won't let him anywhere near the garrison. Your job mostly consists of managing Mars' packed schedule. She's become governor by essentially promising everyone in the council she listened to their concerns. And her promises are coming home to roost. It sucks to be popular. My schedule overfloweth.
You dealeth with it. Oh shit.
They actually liked us standing up to her. They only meeting with her because they think they have to. Most of the meetings could be hollow messages, honestly. She doesn't have to actually be there in person to get them to listen to her.
Yeah, you're probably right. Thanks for the mere reality check.
You look pleased to know that her words carry weight, even when being backed up by her considerable presence.
It doesn't solve the problem how to manage all these scheduling conflicts, though. Wait, how are we gonna... Wait. This is totally an assistant's job. Let me know when you figure it out.
You can feel Seeks staring daggers at you from nearby, disappointed that they weren't trusted with this menial task. Sure. We can do this. You wisely combine several meetings with similar topics, avoiding people who you know will argue with each other. You cancel each other... That's funny. Look at that. When a plan comes together. You cancel a few other meetings, stating hollow messages and copying... Or starting hollow messages and copying Mars to the thread. You remember to give Mars a few hours midweek for her spa time. There's one thing Mars learned from Lum, it's that image matters. Governor with frizzy hair and dry skin won't be taken seriously. Yeah, smart on Unstable Dude says, good job, Rhett. Yeah, don't let Lum anywhere near any weapon ever again. 8. Six, 5. 4. Anybody? Ooh, let's spend some time together. Seems tired. Oh, we do that again? Hold on, I'm gonna reload the autosave. We'll spend time with her again next month, just to see what happens. Alright, Nami, you're out here. Okay. No, both Nem and my character have both stated that they don't want kids. I just want to see all of the events. I actually wouldn't be surprised if not every character has a sexy time event. Okay, organizing's maxed out. Aunt Anne comes burst through the kitchens carrying a large crate. Special delivery, Solane. Time to do my very favorite thing in the kitchen, figuring out new ways to cook fresh food. You grew up eating soy ration, tasteless but nutritious. The hydroponics aboard the spaceship never made enough food to feed everyone. Never made enough to feed everyone. So fresh food was a luxury. Anne's always excited to try her hand at real cooking. With a flourish, she pulls from the box of an alien plant you've never seen before. Pale blue-green, oblong, about the size of her forearm. It hits the cutting board with a disturbing meat-light slap, immediately starts oozing slime onto the surface. Your father finally cleared this friendly little fruit for human consumption. Doesn't even have a name yet. You could come up with something fitting when you figure out how to use it. You look dubiously at the weird fruit. You watch, slurps out a fresh wave of slime. Okay. The business of eating can really turn your stomach sometimes. Imagine, back on Earth, everyone used to eat meat from living things. This is a blessing, Solane. Who knows what we can do with this little plant? I'll try it. You bisect the weird fruit. The goop seems to come from ducts under its thick skin, not the creamy yellow flesh inside. You pop a piece in your mouth. Kind of sweet, like aloe. Crunchy and gooey at the same time. Yeah, aloe is actually kind of okay. If you've never had aloe by itself. Alright. On Sugar Crush. Love fruit goop. Look at Connor with. Look how happy she is. Anybody? Hey, buddy. You know when your birthday is now. Jinx blinks owlishly at your gift. Is it my birthday? I almost forgot. I hate it when people make a big day about my birthday, but this is a knife. Nice. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, I'm in that same boat. That is why when my development date is not public. You avoid base. You walk hand in hand with Nem from the garrison, passing base as you go. Gives you a venomous look. I wonder, is it random? Let's just find out real quick. Let's just reload real quick. Spend some time together? Yeah, okay. It's based on the month. That's fine. We've read that one before. I guess let's go work in the kitchens again. I thought you were going to build a bar. Aunt Anne is waiting for you in the kitchen when you arrive. There's a strange new smell in there. Ah, you're here. I wanted to tell you something before you got started today. As you know, the colony was founded on vegetarian principles. Raising animals for meat on Earth was, well, it wasn't very nice, and it took up a lot of Earth resources, soil and water to feed, that we couldn't bring with us on a spaceship. You nod. Though there are animals on the ranch that produce milk or syrup or high-protein berries, they never actually cooked meat. Well, humans have been eating animals a lot longer than we've been farming them. We used to hunt animals for food and for their furs. Sometimes the ranchers have to slaughter an animal, and, well, some of the foragers. Well, sometimes they bring back an animal they found out there. It's time we start serving them in the canteen. Anne holds up her hands, warding off your concerns. Hey, Neck! Yes, this is my first playthrough. I think we're nearing the end. I know you might find the idea uncomfortable. I want you to remember that this is no different than what would happen. Well, let me rephrase that. This is our second playthrough to year 14. I started over from scratch after hitting year 14 because I was not going to let mom and dad die. That was not going to happen. So I started over and ended up finding that I just didn't pick up any of the pets, which make the game substantially easier, and then continued on from there. I want you to remember this is no different than what would happen to them in the wild. Most animals are eaten by other animals. Meat is healthy and good for us, and we need to take advantage of every possible food source. That means, of course, we're not going to waste any part of the animal. Even the bones can be boiled to make stock. Asking, will I be playing again after this? Not on stream, but I will very likely have a second playthrough myself offline. Anne sets her hand on your shoulder. Ask Congruence for a tutorial on butchering and preparing an animal to follow her instruction. It needs to be cooked to a certain temperature to make sure it's safe to eat. I already started this stew to save you some time. While it's simmering, you can start on learning what you'll need to know for tomorrow. With that, she kisses you on the forehead and bustles out of the room. Like always, Anne has left you to manage the things in the kitchen without her help. What do you do with this power? We'll embrace. This is fine. The stew smells delicious, like beans, but better. You can't wait to serve it to everyone. You enjoy an afternoon of stirring stew and watching holo videos. Congruence runs you through a few simulations of how to butcher an animal, and you got a lot of practice for the real thing. Aunt Anne is right, you think. Humans can survive on a plant-based diet. But when food is scarce, you'll be happy you know these skills. Welcome on in. Thanks for stopping by, Knack. Alright, time... 8. I've really enjoyed my time with it, yes. Alright. Final glow. I think final glow, unless there's also a year 20. What is my favorite character so far? Well, I really like Tammy. Unfortunately, don't have a lot of chances there. Although I did see that you can save her now if you go back through. Oh, no, Kia. The game character was asking if I was going to have kids or not, and so Unstable Deuce was asking. Favorite character? I like a lot of them. I have warmed up to Mars after she was a real big bully as a kid. Dis 2 I have warmed up to, after kind of went out exploring with him. I like Utopia. I think she's actually kind of rad. She seems like the most well-rounded teenager of the bunch. Nem was my childhood friend. And she has become our significant other after we broke her away from Vase. So I think seeing Nem progress and deal with the trauma she had to, or Tange, it's going to be one of them. Alright. I guess let's go see... Go assist the governor, I guess. No, let's go cook some more. Let's just go cook. We'll see what happens after we reach Glow. Unless we have to leave... No, alright. Yeah, let's go cook. See what happens. You're about to leave when Aunt Anne calls you over. She's covered from hips to shoulder in taro flour, mixing bread dough to proof overnight and bake tomorrow morning at the breakfast service. Solani, I have a favor to ask of you. There's a spice I was meaning to ask the foragers to bring back for me from the Valley of Vertigo, but Utopia's moving them somewhere else next week. They brought me some back once, and it was such an intriguing flavor, but it's rare. Would you mind going to look for more if next time you're out foraging? Sure. I don't think they were going to be, but yes. That's my brave little boy. Thank you. From what I hear, if you look for a flower with yellow petals, the spice comes from the reddish-purple stamens inside. You know what a stamen is, right? The long, thin part? I think I have a bunch of those, Auntie, but I don't think it's going to matter. Yep, we can do that. We can do that. We can then do that. And then we can do that. Knowing the attack is coming, it always comes in glow. Does nothing to calm your nerve. There's only so long you can handle sheltering in your quarters. As the month grows longer, you find yourself almost compulsively walking the walls when you're not working, scanning the tree line for the first signs of trouble. You're there when you see them, dark on dark shapes coming out of the forest, perfectly silent. You watch the lookouts as more and more figures amass the forest's edge. Minutes pass as the horde pushes into the firebreak, numbering at least, must be thousands. The ground is choked, teeming with a carpet of smaller creatures, darkly eating out among the legs of... No. The forest bends as the Faceless emerges from its death, followed by two more. Wait, weren't we supposed to meet with them? Weren't we supposed to... Something's wrong. I'll reload here in a second, but the mood on the walls is discouraged. One Faceless destroyed your colony. Two Faceless required an irresponsible number of explosives to take down. How are you supposed to handle 3? Ah, there we go. Okay, a familiar figure cuts through the horde and stands at the front, like a general leading their army. Gardeners must come in all shapes and sizes. You know this one from the hatred in their eyes. It's Noctilucent. Noctilucent steps forward. For millennia, I have been tasked with keeping this planet safe from invasive species. Extreme weather, plague, famine, the migration of predators. All tactics I have used to ensure the invasive species cannot find foothold where they do not belong. Their command of the human language has vastly improved since you last saw them. The gardeners learn quickly. Controlling you by indirect means has proven ineffective. I can no longer ignore the destruction you have caused and the threat you represent to the planetary ecosystem. However... Tim steps out of the tree line and stands behind Noctilucent. His eyes find yours unerringly across the firebreak. Some gardeners argue that you have the capacity for reason, so I've come to offer you an alternative. Your unconditional surrender. Noctilucent smirks up to you. Surrender is the correct word, is it not? Something your singular, violent brains understand? The terms are simple. Humanity will cease reproduction, cease expansion, in return will be allowed to live out... This is not what we said before. Live out your remaining lifespans within the bounds of your walls. Do you accept? Mars steps forward. He beckons you forward too. The mo you're trying to make happen. Alane, there's no way people are going to accept never having children. That's just... We'll go extinct. Can't you make them give us a better deal? You look down at Noctilucent, a figure malevolently patient to get across the firebreak. This might be the only chance you get, but you can try. The Overseer did not mention the slow extinction of humanity was a part of their deal. The other colonists would never accept something drastic as forced sterilization. Here we go, Unstable Deuce. Living like pets or curiosities in a zoo, dwindling into oblivion behind these walls. You couldn't even ask them to make this choice, which leaves you two. We need a better deal. The offer is already generous. Do you think I consulted with the venomous Slapfingers when they overhauled their abyssal driftworms? Or the creeping crossthorn vine when it choked the southern shoreline? No. I did what was needed to restore balance, as my Gardener directive entails. Sim lays his hands on Noctilucent's arm. Ooh, we got a persuasion challenge. The humans can be reasoned with. Hear them out, please. What do you propose, Solane? Oh, that's a check. All right. Yeah, we're gonna be able to do it. Okay. 8. That'll do it. You are well spoken for a pest. However, is humanity even capable of considering the survival of all creatures over their own, even if it means accepting limitation? Of course we are. Okay. Wow, I didn't know I still had that card in there. I should have gotten that taken out. There we go. 9. 8. 7. 6. You argue that the success of Retumna Project in leaving Earth shows that you've learned from your mistakes. Maybe humanity as a whole wasn't able to change trajectory back on Earth, but the colony selected those that could. Dr. Lucent listens to all of this, looking a little bit more convinced. Have you learned anything from living here, though? Can you even coexist with this planet's native wildlife? I have a friend, I have like 4 pets. What are you talking about? Red challenge. Alright. 13. No, we can't do that. That sets it to 6. But what if we do this? Yeah. Alright, we're good. 9. 9. Noctilucent seems impressed. You've learned all of that in 10 years. Seems you aren't completely ignorant. Very well, they say, motioning for the army to stand down. You have argued your case and shown you can adapt to your surrounding. The new terms are: the Overseer has agreed to grant humans reproductive autonomy and limited expansion within your ecological niche. Additionally, the gardeners will ensure the continued health of this valley. Fertile soil, clean water, favorable animal migration patterns, and so on. Behind you, colonists are beginning to carefully come forward to listen, murmuring in wonder. To be clear, there will be no hunting, clearing, minding, or expanding beyond the valley. Humanity must live in harmony with nature rather than attempting to control it. You will come to understand that you do not stand above the needs of the planet. Your mom comes up beside you and puts your hands on your shoulder. It's what we wanted this whole time. When we left Earth, this is everything we dreamed we could be. But the Helios arrived in a military mission, carrying their burdens from Earth, and may resent the deal with the gardeners. The decision may not be popular, but it will give the humanity a chance at peace. A true peace. We agree to your terms. The animals surrounding the colony begin to filter back into the trees, disappearing into the gloom of late-glow wilderness. Your knees buckle. You feel like you could sleep for a week. All around you, you hear people crying in relief, or maybe fear? Tears pour down your face unbidden as the colony comes out to clamor around you. Many are smiling and some look numb and scared. Some look angry. Hasn't sunk in yet. Even as you're hoisted onto someone's shoulder, paraded into the colony. You did it. You won. The party continues well into the night for a few days after that until the sun rises above the horizon once again. It begins to set in the colony will never again see another monster attack, or famine, or plague. Most people think this sounds pretty good. The others are soundly overruled for now. As for you, you can now focus on just being your best self without worrying about day-to-day survival. That relief carries you through until quiet breaks on a new year, your 20th birthday. You turn 20 amidst the time of tremendous joy and unity in the colony. You aren't a teenager anymore, so you guess that makes you an adult. Though in many ways, you've already been one for a long time. Woo! You step out onto the balcony and greet the new... Oh yeah, hey, this is the end. Greet the new day and start the rest of your life on Vertumna. We eked that out at the end. I bet you if Lum was still governor, we would lose. Hey, achievement, peace on Vertumna. You reached your 20th birthday. Look at us. Ooh, did we become an engineer? Roboticist. You always loved machines and decided to dedicate your life with them. The gardeners are more tolerant of human technology than you expected. They shake your heads and wonder why you keep fixing your old bots when the planet can provide you everything you need. But they let you do it. So long as it doesn't involve leaving your territory, they're content to let you experiment. You start a microprocessor factory. Well, you try to. The rare materials you need to create complex electronics are, suspiciously, not found within the bounds of your gardener-appointed territory. Not content to let the colony return to the Dark Ages, you coordinate with explorers to sneak out and source what you need. Oopsie. When gardeners get wind of your project, they shut it down. Simply go back to fixing things as well as you can. Tangent becomes chief engineer when Instance retires to focus on her research. She isn't a very communicative boss, but she keeps engineering wing ship shape. You live the life of a tinkerer, but never too far from your beloved bot. What about? Friggin' Nem! After a tumultuous beginning, you and Nem finally managed to find each other. When you were just barely adults, it seemed like it would last forever. Oh no! No one's quite sure whether to believe Noctilucent would really cease his attacks during Glow. But as years pass by and the colony breathes a collective sigh of release, the garrison's resources eventually get siphoned away into other departments. Nem is downsized, becoming a reservist instead of staying on with the much smaller standing army that remained. One of her last acts before she retires is dismantling the walls she helped defend. She goes back to playing sports ball, yes! And finds her joy again, running teams for children just like her brother did. Little Nougat grows up idolizing Nem just like you and both idolize Calm. You're together for a long time. Long enough that people start asking you about whether or not you're going to start a family. You and Nem just shrug it off. There's no real pressure. Plenty of people leading the charge without you. You both agree. Why have children when you have each other? Your love sustains you just fine. Fuck yes! Yes! Kia, if you're in chat, I love you. Nem lives a long, happy life before becoming something of a cool aunt figure to everyone who crosses her sports ball pitch. Great! This is the best thing I could have asked for. Chief Engineer Tangent has a nice ring to it. It always seemed like Tangent's life was laid out for her. Work hard, discover amazing things, and eventually replace Instance as Chief Engineer. However, after only a year on the council, Tangent surprises everyone by stepping down. She says that she simply doesn't have time to run engineering and do her research. But you know the truth. She doesn't want to be used like Instance was. Her brush with genocide made her realize she needed to think more about repercussions of her actions. Instead, she contents herself with being a regular researcher, quietly pushing the boundaries of medical science and having a hand in every major discovery. She trains up new researchers in every discipline, passing on everything she learned from Instance and everything since. It's an unremarkable life for someone as impossibly promising as Tangent, but she seems happy. Smiles more often, and has more time to spend with you, and gets even more than enough sleep every night. Her love life remains fairly private, but she's not as frigid as she always claimed. You hear the colony gossips that she carries on with a string of casual relationships, mostly with other scientists, mostly women. She donates genetic material to a number of children, but doesn't choose to raise any of her own. She's quite picky about their genetic enhancements, obsessing over any markers of anxiety or depression that runs in her family. But ultimately, her children grow up healthy and in loving families far removed from Tangent's own childhood. It's a bittersweet reminder for her. Tangent lives and dies in the shadow of what she almost caused to happen on Vertumna. Knowing that she almost killed every living thing on the planet weighs heavily upon her for the rest of her days. Unfortunately, even with genetic alteration, the human body was not meant to withstand long periods without sleep. Oh boy. And Tangent's willful negligence in taking care of herself doesn't help. She develops a heart condition in her early 60s that outpaces her healing capacity of the medbeds, and it eventually takes her life. Oh no! Alright, Dis. Your friend Dis keeps on exploring. Utopia keeps him on his second surveyor, recognizing that a man like Dis needs to feel useful or he's prone to wander. Over time, he straightens up his act, and even learns to play nice with authority, though he and Utopia together certainly keep the council guessing. Dis is instrumental in the colony's transition to gardener authority. Together, the two of you provide an example of fearless submissions to the forces of nature. Dis actually talks to people about everything he's seen in the wild, the incredible and horrifying, and champions the idea of being part of it, not in control of it. The idea of peace with nature involves cooperation and compromise, not subjugation, is unpopular. But being unpopular has never stopped Dis before. It's almost not surprised when Dis admits to you that he's in love with Sim. Yeah, I expected that. It's hard to explain the depth and intimacy of their relationship. Then that when Dis is with Sim, he feels a sense of completion, of love. He's never felt among humans. Dis shows him things, teaches him things, not just about himself, but about all life. And not just in the present, but across all of time. You've never seen Dis talk about anything with such passion. You keep his secret from the others. Dis is your friend. He deserves to be happy. On Secret Crush, you're not wrong. Secret Crush in chat says, everybody go to sleep so you don't die. If sleep is important, folks. Dis continues his work as an ambassador for gardenership for many decades, until one day he announces that he's leaving. In recognition of his lifetime service to the planet, the Overseer has extended offer to make Dis a gardener. He makes a lot of friends since his low years, and his ascendance to gardenerhood is celebrated across the colony, even by tangent, having long since reconciled their differences. For years afterward, people report seeing strangely docile animals approach the colony, watch for a few hours, then slip away into the forest. It's a comfort knowing that Dis will always be out there somewhere. Symbiosis, the bridge between two peoples. Undying, never aging, ever-patient Sim remains one of your closest confidants. For a few years, it's quite common to see gardeners move around the colony in various forms, teaching the humans about history of Vertumna and how to live in harmony with the land. Sim is one of them, of course, and the only one who doesn't treat you like some of curiosity in a zoo. After a few years, the other gardeners leave humanity to figure out things on their own. Sim stays on to act as emissary and move into the colony to live with you full-time. You specifically. We got a brother! You move into gardener-like abode where Sim can form a connection to the array, glowing pool and all. It's an odd roommate situation, prone to some sitcom-level hijinks as you work out the finer details of sharing your space with an alien, but your friendship helps him acclimate to living in a colony. Nem doesn't appreciate living with Sim at first, and it's hard for her to let down her guard around the enemy. You live apart for a while where she struggles with her hatred and her trauma. It takes many years for her to come around. With the colony at peace, she has all the time and support she needs. She warms to Sim, and even becomes calling him a friend too. Fuck yes! You think Sim enjoys living in the colony, but he never quite fits in. He reincarnates a few times into forms that look more human, but he almost famously returns to the colony in a swarm. He also once famously returns to the colony as a swarm of hecklebees, just to prove a point about gardener consciousness transcends form. It's a bit unnerving, but that's Sim for you. Your parents get to see their pioneer dreams come through. Man, I wonder what that ending would have been if they had died. With the forest bursting with food, they were both able to lay down the burden of feeding the entire colony. They still work in geoponics, but recreationally. Your dad cultivating dizzyweed and hops, your mom working on her personal garden on earth plants. Now that the gardens are keeping an eye on the colony too, her earth plants flourish without threatening to take over the local flora. They live long, happy lives, and you eventually return them both to the soil they love so much. They'll always be with you, in the ground you walk on, in the trees that give you shade, and in the cycle of life that sustains. Yay, our Hopeye friend! Your Hopeye is a good companion, but you're no replacement for its own species. When a herd of Hopeye roam close enough to the colony, you release it back into the wild. A few years later, you're greeted one morning by a whole litter of Hopeye kittens outside your door. And Hopeye, proudly showing off their family. Oh, he came back! That's great. Your Vriki grows from a size of a small dog to the size of a bear, becoming more and more unwieldy, and more terrifying to small children. Before the council can force you to do anything about your arachnid octopus friend, Riki Tiki just disappears. You look everywhere in the colony for it, but your answer comes from outside a wall. A new Vriki nursery tree. Soon the colony hosts the many curious Vriki pups who call Riki Tiki home. Yeah, they eventually become trees. Your Unisaur will seemingly live forever, just as cantankerous as she's always been. Sable is born into the colony, though, and ultimately, even though you made great strides in taming her, you never domesticate her or her species. You decided it is best to release her into the wild. She deigns to give you a regal nuzzle before sprinting off into the swamps where you found her. The last unicorn on Secret Crush! In my later years, the days turn to months and eventually becoming years, then decades. Before you know it, you're old. You live in harmony with nature. Living under the gardeners, lovingly tended like any other species in their garden, is like a paradise. The trees are heavy with fruit, The weather is mild, and the colony is unbothered by the larger xenofauna that once menaced the colony. You see faceless ones sometimes, sitting in clearings like inert sentinels, their broad, mossy bodies home to clusters of small animals. Over the years, a few dissenting groups refuse to believe the entire planet is off-limit to humans. In the spirit of human expansion, they break off from the colony to search somewhere outside the Gardner influence. Some return, chastised, but others never do, pruned like any invasive weed. The surveyors work exhaustingly to map the boundaries of human territory, and the science and engineers work on countless simulations to test its carrying capacity. Within a few years, you have a concrete number about how many humans can live comfortably while still maintaining equilibrium with the planet. While the Rotunda is generous and humanity flourishes, there's more than enough space to live and future generations to enjoy as well. You do so well, in fact, that a Gardner emissary comes to you with an offer. A second human territory. A show of trust, but also a chance to hold you, unstable dude. A chance to prove your worth by helping keep down the population of a stubborn, but delicious, invasive mollusk. They prepared a proto-colony, taking 100 humans to begin their new lives as a seaside community. You're sad to see them go, but it's a great sign for the future of Rotunda. Rotunda is your home now. I knew as soon as we were able to convince them to change the deal that it was a situation of them, of proving ourselves. Rotunda is your home now, and you made it a good one. You die at a ripe old age, surrounded by loved ones. In the moment of your death, as your brain cells fizzle out and one by one shut down forever, a vision swims in your mind's eye. Is that Tammy? They seem so familiar. You feel like you know them so well. Oh, it's you. Only ancient. His arms are covered with so many data bands. So many lifetimes of knowledge. The ancient you speaks without moving his mouth, not in words, but something like pictures. Still, you understand. He greets you with a love, and you can feel suffused through your soul. You did well. It's not easy to make someone put aside their ego and surrender to a greater power. Humans have tried before. It hasn't always been pretty. He rests his hands on your shoulder. Hope you can manage to do it again. Because you're not done yet. I believe I lived my best. There was a girl when you were young. Yeah, Tammy. With the cotton candy hair. Such a shame to see life snuffed out so young. It gives you a look as if to say you were somehow responsible for this. Wait, were you? Could you have saved her? We have a chance to take another path, to change the way our life turned out. Come with me. That's fantastic. Kudos to this dev team. Hold on, we're gonna let this scroll. Kudos to this dev team. I greatly enjoyed this. This was my path, where I was a teenage exocolonist. I would like to say thank Finji for providing me a copy of this game. If you would like to have your own path through this game, you can pick up a copy at the link that just showed up in chat. I'm very surprised at how long this game is, and thinking that it has multiple playthroughs. That's wild. But greatly enjoyed it. I can already in my brain see where the paths will branch. I can see how dramatically differently this story would go. I think that this was a fantastic experience. I think it did fit in with Creature Comforts quite well. I will right now. Let's talk about what's coming up on the channel. Yeah, it should be on Switch. Is it available anywhere else on Steam? I think it might even be on itch. Hold on. I can tell you here in a second. It is on PlayStation, Switch, and Steam. Such a good game. Really enjoyed my time with it. So let's see. Let's talk about what's coming up. So I am going to take a break, mostly because we're about to hit October, and because we finished a long game. So I will be on break for a week from regular streams. That does not mean that I won't stream something in that time, but expect it to be more rampant and to have no schedule assigned for the next week. For those of you that are new to the channel, feel free to join us on the Discord. I do post my schedule there. I don't have a Twitter at this point, so that'll be the best way to find it. I will update my channel schedule on Twitch as well. So normally, since we finished a creature comfort game, the next game would be Artificial Intelligence Initiatives, which would mean something AI focused. I can tell you that that next game will be Steel Rising, which is a Marie Antoinette era French Dark Souls game set in that period of time where you're playing as a clockwork automaton that is sentient. I've heard pretty good things about it. It is from the game company called Spiders, and so sometimes they're mixed. They also made Greedfall. Greedfall, which is basically Mass Effect, but in the past and kind of a colonialism focus. I enjoyed my time with Greedfall. I didn't finish it. I'll go back to it one of these days. Oh, there's also magic and all sorts of weird shit going on in Greedfall. They also made a game called Mars Warlogs, and can't remember. There's another one that I can't remember the name of other than that. But I did test it out. It runs fine on my machine. The performance is good, so that'll be our next regular scheduled game. For the next Creature Comforts games, once we finish Steel Rising, originally we were going to be playing, before Vinji reached out and gave us a copy of this game, we were going to be playing, what's it called? Something Life? Oh my god, it's the sweary game. Hold on. The Good Life. And we will still be playing The Good Life. But it may not be the next one. It may be the one after that. The next one may be Journey to... what is it? Journey to the Wild Planet? Hold on. Now I can't remember any game names. Journey to the Savage Planet. I am announcing that we will be playing that game. And... at some point, probably this year, if I'm thinking about timing right. And Kia and I will be co-streaming it. I don't know if she'll be streaming it as well, but she will be playing as well. That is a co-op game, so we'll do that. But then The Good Life will be either before that or after that. However, the reason why I'm saying that these things aren't coming up next is next month is October, which means that it is Spooky Month, or more specifically, it is the OK Games October Spooktacular, I think is what we're calling it. I don't know. Which means we will be playing a bunch of horror games. Myself, Edgar Allan Poe, and OK Retro Zone. We'll be playing some on my channel. We'll be playing some on Edgar's channel. We'll be playing some on Retro's channel. The games that are confirmed right now is Mortuary Assistant. Mortuary Assistant? Yeah, Mortuary Assistant. Sucker for Love. We'll be playing that over on Edgar's channel. And I believe we might be checking out Darkseed. I'm still trying to figure out the logistics of that. So expect those streams throughout the month of October. Expect some other stuff that I jump into on here. Keep an eye out for the schedule. I am excited to do that. If you have not, we have not gotten a chance to record. Life's been weird, folks. We have not got a chance to record another episode. We will be recording soon. If you have not listened to the OK Games podcast, there's a link in the chat. If you are listening to an archive of this, you can go to okretro.zone/okpod and check us out there. There is going to be a break in Final Fantasy XIV streams over on Britt K. Kaylee's channel. There's nothing else for me to help them voice, so I won't be over on there for that. There may be some other stuff. I will say please keep an eye out and visit Britt K. Kaylee's channel for the month of October, if not all regularly, if you can. She is doing some push to kind of normalize her viewership and work through some stuff. There's some really cool stuff going out there, and I want to support her however I can. More to come on that on her channel. But yes, so keep an eye out for those things. So again, next regularly streamed game for here will be Steel Rising. That will be coming probably at the end of October, or during October in the stream times that doesn't have a horror game fitting, assuming I can't find things to fit in it. I'm pretty sure we will. We'll make it work. Expect the co-streams for the OK Games October Spooktacular to start around the week of the 10th of October. Just life is making that impossible for otherwise. And other than that, thank you so much for watching. Please stick around if you're watching live. We will raid someone rad. you're watching the archive, please feel free to check out something else on my channel. I will again shout out, if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, I am very close to the subscriber numbers needed to get a custom URL and not just a bunch of gobbledygook at the end of the YouTube URL. So please go to the About Me section down below this stream and go over to the YouTube channel and click subscribe. You don't have to do anything. It's free. If you're on YouTube and you haven't clicked subscribe, please go ahead and click subscribe. I just want to get a URL that is actually easily typable or speakable. It'd be great. I'm not planning on switching to YouTube. It is my archive channel after all, but who knows? Maybe I'll just be able to. Maybe Twitch will finally let affiliates do co-streams on or multiple or what is it called? Simulcast streams. And we'll go from there. Other than that, folks, stick around, be safe, and be kind to one another. Bye-bye!